Hey everyone, it's Elena again. I'm gonna take a moment to apologize for the length of the first video that I made. Half hour is a little bit long to hear somebody rant about being transgender and the depressive state I was in at the time. Um, I'm not trying not to make these videos that long. I'm gonna aim for about 10 to 15 minutes. Is kind of my hope. Uh, but we're gonna see what happens. Today, um, today I want to talk about being a trans parent. No pun intended. Obviously, I am not. You cannot see through me. Well, sometimes. Um, but being a parent while being trans. Now, I got lucky. I'm still with my wife. She entirely accepts and approves and actually pushes me to be more of what I am, or who I am, and I couldn't ask for anything more from her. We have a child together from before I started my hormones, obviously, and I hadn't started transitioning when he was born. It was always a little bit like I was cross-dressing, and I was really kind of looking into what I was at that point, but the thought that I was actually a trans woman just never really came up until after he was born. He was about 2 when I started socially transitioning, and that made things a little bit more interesting because he was starting to talk and he was starting to learn words and he was calling us mommy and daddy. And then when I started transitioning into a woman, it was like, well, do we want to try to teach him different words? Do I need a different title than daddy or dad? And, barring the negative connotations when somebody else calls you daddy. They don't call me that, trust me. But man, there was a lot of fear there because I was worried about messing him up. I was worried about it being an issue for him, even though he was so young. And you know what? He took to it like a pro. He still calls me dad. We didn't change that, and I'm okay with that. Dad, even father, that kind of stuff. It makes things a little bit awkward in a social sense, but with just me and him, I had no problems with him calling me dad. And we didn't want to change it when he was first learning. We didn't want to suddenly, it's like, no, you can't call me dad anymore. It has to be this. I have this thing where I want to I want my transition to affect other people as little as possible. I think that's something a lot of trans people feel quite often, is that we are worried or scared or we feel bad when our transitioning affects other people's lives. Even to the point where I have troubles correcting people when they misgender me because I feel like I am imposing, I guess, who I am onto them, and it's not the funnest feeling in the world. It makes me feel like crap a lot. I have friends who are more likely to correct people when they misgender me than I am, which, God, I don't know what I'd do without them, honestly. Back to the point, though. Like I said, I'm lucky. My kid loves me. And we're still together as a family, for sure. He did learn my birth name at first, but it really wasn't hard to get him to switch over to the new name, to Elena, which was really nice. I think we caught him young enough that I don't know if he even remembers my birth name, because he always calls me Elena or Dad. Basically, the biggest problem with him calling me Dad tends to be, again, in public, when he calls me Dad in front of other people. They automatically assume, oh, Dad, male. because we have that connection to words all the time, and that's tends to be how it goes. We went shopping at my work a couple weeks ago. Me, my wife, and the boy, and he was sitting in the cart, and we ran into one of my managers, who. And this particular manager, he's always been awesome to me. Never screwed up, never used the wrong name, never used the wrong pronoun. Really awesome guy. I love him. And so we stop and say hi, and he says hi to my kid, and the kid says hi back, and he's like, "My daddy's a girl, okay? She's a girl." And I'm trying not to crack up. My wife is trying not to crack up, and my manager is sitting there like, well, yeah, I know that. And she's awesome. And it's just like, it was the cutest moment, because now he does that a lot. He'll go to, if people are talking to us, he'll go to strangers, and or somebody stops us, talks to us in the street, and it's just like, my daddy's a girl, because I don't know what I did to make him realize that I have so much insecurity about being misgendered, but he's 5 years old and he wants to protect me, and it's one of the greatest feelings I've ever had. Now, I know I'm gushing because I absolutely love my son. I love my kid. He's amazing. I'm not really always been a fan of kids, to be fair, but I love him so much. And if he ever watches this video, hey, I love you, kiddo. I don't think I can have any more. One of the things about HRT is that it does tend to make you mostly sterile. If I went off the hormones, it might come back. Maybe, but me and the lady, we're not really interested in having more, at least biological. We would love to consider maybe fostering at some point, when our lives are a little bit more settled, because a settled life is not something we're used to. But it can be hard to be a trans parent, because there's a fear there. There's always a fear that I have that I'm going to make his life harder. I was bullied a lot when I was young, when I was in school, not because of my parents, but because I had red hair was a big excuse for a lot of it, because I was different than everybody else. So I was bullied a lot. I was beat up a lot when I was a kid. And I worry that my kid is so sociable, so outgoing, so bright and excited all the time, that when he gets a little bit older and he starts telling people that his daddy's a girl, that they're gonna bully him for it, they're gonna tease him for it, and they're gonna make his life hell for it. And I feel like that's on me, and it's something I'm very, very afraid of. My wife tells me I don't have anything to worry about, and I think if he was old enough, my kid would say the same thing. I'm sure he can take care of himself in that sense. But again, it's the whole, I don't want to affect other people's lives with who I am. And it frightens me. It frightens me a lot. And I can't be the only one out there who has a child, maybe a younger child, maybe even an older child who is trans, the parent being trans, and has that same fear. Like there's almost definitely more. A lot of the people I see on YouTube, again, wonderful, beautiful trans people. I haven't seen a lot about being a parent or parenting while being trans. And I guess this was just another 10-minute rant instead of anything really constructive. I think the only advice, if you're looking for advice on being a parent and being trans, honesty. Plain and simple. Be as absolutely honest with your kids as you can. explain it to them. They're not too young to understand things. You might have to dumb down the words a little bit, make it simplify some of the ideas. But even at 4, 3, even at 2 years old, they get it sometimes. He's 5 now, and he's protecting me. You gotta be yourself, and you gotta take care of yourself so you can take care of them. Because if you're not gonna take care of yourself, then it can be really hard to take care of others. And if you have a kid who accepts you, no matter what age they are, you want to take care of them and make sure that they understand that what they're doing is amazing. What they're doing is something that people 20 years ago never did. It's worth it. It massively is. And for any of you single trans people out there who are thinking of having kids or some sort of thing, if it works for you, go for it. Honestly. Whatever you like. If you don't want kids, if your spouse doesn't want kids, that's okay too. You don't need to have kids. It's not a requirement in life. I know a lot of people go on and on and on about, well, you have to get older and you have to have kids, you have to have a house, blah 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 blah. You don't have to have a kid. I have one. He's fantastic. I'm okay not having another one. I got all the love I need. Alright, so, yeah, that's my rant about being transparent. Pun intended this time. God, I'm lame. Thanks for watching. I don't know how often I'm gonna upload videos. Probably whenever. I look a little bit nicer today than I did in my last video. No tank top today. I'm wearing a watch. When I'm wearing a watch, I don't know, because I went out this morning. I had to take the kiddo to school. I didn't want to show off this. It's the necklace that my wife gave me for Valentine's Day a couple weeks ago. She calls it a bound heart, and I love it. I have worn it ever since Valentine's Day, except for yesterday. I had to take it off the shower, and then I totally forgot to put it back on. But I put it back on last night when I got home from work. I love it. I love her. I love my kid. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being who you are. The most powerful thing we can do is be ourselves and try to live that best life that we have. Alright, I just keep droning on, so I'm gonna stop it here. You guys all have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.